but 90% of their parents are hearing. However, there's not enough sign language teachers worldwide, especially in regional Australia, to teach sign language for the parents of the deaf children so that they can communicate more effectively with their own children. So we need to look at the alternatives to teach sign language. There are already existing approaches to teach sign language in the absence of human teacher, such as books, multiple choice question software. However, none of these methods provide feedback on the performance of the learner. Making a sign. For this research, we look at 3 different groups of literature. We look at the current existing sign language learning technology. Most of the existing technology, video software, do not provide feedback on the performance of the learners. Also, none of the existing research study compare different forms of visual feedback for sign language. We also look at visual feedback for learning physical skills. One of the key points that I figure out from looking at many different forms of visual feedback for learning physical skill is that there are 2 groups of feedback: abstract visualization and natural visualization. Abstract visualization utilize different shapes, different colors to convey feedback information. On the other hand, natural visualization utilize 3D model, 3D avatar of the instructor, mimicking the actual real-life setting with the instructor providing the feedback. We also look at feedback in sign language classroom with human teacher. One of the 2 of the things that got to mention now, having feedback is better for learning, the learning process of the student. And recasting is a common approach for giving feedback in classroom. Recasting is a technique in which the teacher will perform the correct sign again for the student to learn from. Different visual feedback types are designed, evaluated, and compared in this research project. And this is the main point of the paper. Let's look at the system design. There are 4 screens: the introduction screen, the learn screen, the practice screen, and the feedback screen in that order. In the introduction screen, the student have a chance to familiarize themselves with the system. They can try to control the 3D model student avatar using their own body movements. They also have a chance to look at the 3D model of the teacher performing the sign. In the learn screen, they have a chance to learn different signs from different angles by looking at the 3D avatar of the teacher performing the correct sign. In the next screen, the practice screen, they have a chance to practice the sign as many times as they want to. And they can see the movement reflect on the 3D model of the student. When they are confident with their practice, they can press record to record their performance. After that, the system will compare their recorded performance with the pre-recorded performance from the expert and provide different form of visual feedback in the final screen, feedback screen. Let's have a look at the different visual feedback designs that we came up with. The first one we call augmented recast. So this one is inspired from the recast feedback in the actual classroom with a human teacher. We call it augmented recast because apart from the teacher on the right hand side or on the left hand side performing the correct side, you also can see the student performing the recorded movement of the learner side by side. So this is the difference compared to the normal recast in the actual classroom. The second form of feedback that we want to provide is called phantom feedback. In this phantom feedback, only the two arms of the teachers are shown on top of the student model, performing the correct side, while the student model performing the recorded movement of the learner at the same time. The next type of feedback is called colors. We use different colors to indicate whether the performance are right or wrong. If the performance is correct, it will turn into blue. If the performance is incorrect, it will turn into red. The next type of feedback is called paths. The red paths show the trajectory of the student performance or student movement, whereas the blue paths show the trajectory of the correct movements of the pre-recorded by the expert. The next type of feedback is called arrows. The tip of the arrows are the correct position. You can see that the arrow are like pulling the hands of the student toward the correct position in this type of feedback. Okay, so let's have a look at how we evaluate and the result of our user study. So we recruit the participant using the poster display around the university campus, and we also send email to different campus mailing lists. The two criteria for recruiting the participant are more than the age of 18 and being able to understand spoken English. We managed to recruit 51 people, 34 males and 17 females. The majority of the people were aged between 20 to 30. But we also have other people covering other range groups, other age groups. This is the procedure of each user session. Participant system go through different section, different screen, introduction screen, learn screen, practice screen, and feedback screen. So in the learn screen, the site is chosen randomly for them. And in the feedback screen, the order of different form of visual feedback are also shown in a random order. And this process is repeated 3 times before they go to answer the questionnaire. The questionnaire include open and closed questions regarding the types of feedback that the learners receive. After that, they need to rate the feedback understandability using the Likert scale from 1 to 7, strongly disagree to strongly agree. They also answer the open question about what works, what does not work, and provided suggestions for improvement. They also chose the most effective feedback type and the least effective feedback type. as a part of the questionnaire. Okay, let's have a look at the result of the effectiveness. Phantom feedback was chosen as the most effective by the highest number of participants. Some of the comments from the participants who make this decision are, you can compare your movements precisely with the teacher's movements. It shows me what I was doing as well as what I'm supposed to do. It is the easiest one to see on how to fix the sign. Colors feedback was chosen as the least effective feedback type by the highest number of participants. Some of the comments are, because it does not tell you how to fix the issue. It is a bit lacking of information on how to fix the mistake. Interestingly, this is the only feedback type that got some comments from the participants saying that this is the only feedback that provide positive reinforcement for their correct performance using the blue color. So that's also an interesting thing from even this one rated as the least effective by the highest number of people, but it's also useful in some way. We also look at the understandability of the 5 different visual feedback design. User rated all visual feedback design highly for their understandability. The medium of arrows, color, pass, and phantom are 6, whereas the median of recast for understandability is 7. All of them are very high. It means all the visual feedback types are easy to understand, and especially the recast one, because the recast one is the one that inspired from the actual feedback given in the classroom with human teacher. We also conduct a range of Wilcoxon side rank tests with continuity correction and Bonferroni-Holm correction to see which type of feedback is easier to understand compared to the other. And we've realized that pass, arrow, and color belong to abstract feedback group are less understandable than the recast feedback belong to natural feedback group. And phantom feedback, which belong to natural feedback group, is more understandable than the pass and arrow belong to the abstract feedback group. So to conclude the talk, we just list some contribution of our work. Our research provides insight into embodied agent-based strategies for providing visual feedback to learners of sign language vocabulary on gross motor movement and location. We evaluated and compared different visual feedback approaches in a user study with 51 participants. All feedback types have different useful characteristics. Recast is the most preferred one, whereas color is the least preferred one. The abstract feedback types without the instructor are harder to understand compared to the natural feedback types with the instructor. Some of the future research avenues are, we need to test the visual feedback design as concurrent feedback because terminal feedback was used in our study. We haven't tested concurrent feedback. We need to research and design visual feedback for finger movements. We need to test the visual feedback artifacts in the future mediums as well, because we have only tested them in a screen using three-dimensional avatars. What happens if we test them in virtual reality, augmented reality, or on humanoid robots, or on some form of other futuristic mediums that we are exploring in the future.
All right. So hopefully you can see me, Han, and you're all the way in Australia. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for attending
this is our question
my
time,
talk.
though I know one person
my name is Han,
has a lag.
and that's my email, han.fan@monash.edu.
Hold on here.
I'm from Melbourne, Australia. It's
okay. I'm getting a little feedback.
3:15 a.m. in the morning, And
Oh,
the
we
picture
are all
is
caught up.
me
So
standing in
yeah, so
front of
thank you
my
for your talk,
system
Han. We do
performing
have a
the
few
sign
minutes for
thank you
questions.
in
So
Australian Sign
does
Language.
anyone, I'll open it up to the
And
room. Does
at the
anyone
bottom
have a
of the
question?
screen, you can see the detail of our paper. Thank
I
you very
have a
much again
question,
for
but I see
attending
there's
my talk.
like a lot of people, I think, lined up. I'm not sure who's the first.
You're talking. I say go for it.
Sorry. Sorry, I missed the first couple of seconds of the talk, but I just wondered. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, in the study, how did you capture the signs? Because you animated them on the agent, right? And then how did, like, was it, yeah, how did you capture the signs and then animate it right away?
Yeah, so I capture the sign using Microsoft Kinect, full body skeleton movement capturing, and I store them in the database, and I compare with the pre-recorded movements of the teachers. Yeah.
Does that work well? Does it see the fine-grained details of the sign language?
As I mentioned in the last slide, in the future research avenue, testing on fingers is another story. Not just the limitation of the technology, but the designs of the visual feedback has to be different as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for your question.
Minute until the next talk. That may be too short. Is there a short question? Well, maybe if there isn't, are we sure there's not a short question just because it looked like there were a lot of people in line? If not, I have a few. But I guess one question I have, if we can answer it quickly, is whether you know, one thing listening to your talk is whether you combine the abstract feedback like color with phantom, if that would be extra powerful. So then it's like it's red while you were wrong, and then it's green while you're right.
Yep. Thank you very much for your question. Definitely, as I mentioned, even the statistics show that there are different level of the understandability as well as effectiveness of the 5 feedback visual feedback design that I have tested. However, each of them have the advantages compared to the other. For example, the one that rated not effective by the highest number of people, participants, which is the color feedback. But that's the only feedback was mentioned by the participant that it provided positive feedback with the blue color. So that's something we can bring over to the other future designs. The purpose of this research and this paper is to have the suggestion and the findings from our designs. However, for the future design,
sorry, I'm so sorry. The next talk started, but thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. Thank you for having me here. See you guys around.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Hello, I'm Liu from Carnegie Mellon University. Today, I'd like to talk about how big 5 personality traits impact the
Okay, so this is my, as you can see, this is my poster. So this conference is a virtual conference, pretty cool. So before they were streaming my pre-recorded talk, and I think they will release the offline video with a higher quality soon, so I can upload to my channel. But over here is the poster of my research. If I press X, it will open up the poster. And if I go here and press X, it shows the directory. And this is my location, B1. So this is where the poster is. You can click on this as well. It's also show the poster. I can download the poster over here, or I can just go here. And if there are other people during the poster session at 10 a.m. Melbourne time, I can talk to them and I can interact with them. So there are other people here as well. As you can see. Pretty cool. They designed this conference in a way that it looks similar to a two-dimensional RPG game. Before, when they stream my talk, it was in this room. All right. Oh, the person saying that, sorry to interrupt you. This format is not something I'm used to. That's fine. It's new for everyone, so it happened that people make mistake. Yeah, she interrupting me. Well, she interrupted my my talk before I reach to the final slide. So she talking while I'm talking, like while the video of me talking playing at the same time. So it was a bit annoying for the audience. But I think it's all right. People are new to this platform as well. Okay. So I'm going to be back later for the poster session. For now, I'm going to sign off.